to whatever stream or platform you're watching this video on, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, or you're listening through the podcast, which is coming soon. So for the first video of the year for Pink Lane, I really wanted to talk about what COVID-19 has taught me. So really, I really should be saying what 2020 has taught me, but you cannot say 2020 without COVID, without lockdown, without quarantine, however you say it. You can't really talk about 2020 without mentioning those things. And I just wanted to start this year's video talking about the things that I have personally learned, and I feel like everybody as well can pretty much relate to these 5 things. Most people will agree on these 5 things, just a very few might not. And also at the end of the video we'll be explaining my thoughts going forward and what I have in terms of plans with not just my finances but to do with Pink Lane as well, and other relevant important information. So let's get straight into it. So 2020 was one hell of a year. We're currently only 1 week into 2021, and even 2021 is looking kind of like shady. But one thing I always tell people is, first of all, do not fear. Second of all, it is exciting to live in times like this. Like, there's always something going on. Look at the positive side of things. And also focus on your circle of influence, not circle of concern. So that, by the way, is from a book called 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a book I would definitely recommend everyone to read. But yeah, so that's my advice to you. Having said that, we are here for the things I've learned about my finances in 2020. So the first thing is, and I think this is the most important thing that more people can relate to, especially if you do a 9 to 5, is that you cannot just rely on one stream of income. I am lucky enough to have not lost my job in 2020. I was very, very blessed to even have a pay rise during the pandemic because I was one of the people coming into the office. Having said that, it just made me realize, just seeing everybody being on furlough, some people losing their jobs, it did make me think, if that was to affect me, I have no plan. I have no second stream of income. I have nothing. And probably a subsection to this one would be to have savings, because at the time I was trying to get my finances together. I was like, I don't really have any real savings. For someone who even talks about personal finance, I don't really have any real savings to actually carry me for a long time if, I lose my job. So that did get to me. I was just like, you know what? I need to build a second stream of income. And I'm currently doing so at the moment. So that is lesson number 1. Like, you need a second stream of income. If you don't have that second stream of income, you need at least some savings. Like, I would say at least 3 months of expenses saved up. So that is number 1. Okay, so number 2 is job security is a thing of the past. Now, I think people knew this from the last financial crisis we had in 2008, I think. Yeah, 2008, that job security doesn't exist. But I think because 2008 was such a long time ago, I mean, that was 12 years ago, that people kind of got comfortable again. And people need to understand, like, I feel like 2020 sealed the nail, like, was the last nail of the coffin. Like, job security does not exist. It doesn't exist. So you have to continue to put yourself out there. You have to build on your skills. While second stream of income or being an entrepreneur is not for everybody, then if you did want to get ahead, one of the things you need to do is continuously learning, continuously building yourself and upping your skills. If upping is a word, if it's not, then ignore that. You want to continue just building yourself, and in such a way that if something was to happen, people would actually sought after you. So if you were to lose your job, then it makes it much easier for you to get a new one. So that is number 2. Mindset is key. If there was anything like, okay, so if there are 2 things I can attribute to me surviving 2020, number 1, it's God. Number 2, it's mindset. Your mindset is key. Are you aware, in the midst of this coronavirus pandemic situation, some people made more money in 2020 than they'd ever done in their lifetime? When others say there's a casting down, you will say there's a lifting up. And I kid you not, even I made more money in 2020 than I did in my working life. Okay, so number 3 is mindset is key. And if I was to attribute anything to me surviving 2020, first of all, it will be the grace of God. Second of all, it'll literally be mindset. I read a book last year called Mindset. This is the cover. If you guys can see it, it's by a woman called Carol Dweck. And this book is the bomb. It was my first book for 2020. If I'd known that I was going to need this in 2020, like, I'll be like, oh my gosh, this was God sent. This book was the one. And your mindset is what is going to allow you to survive in certain situations, such as 2020. Like I mentioned, there are people who made more money in 2020 than they did in any time of their life, simply because they had a different mindset. While everyone was like, oh my gosh, this is so bad, the economy is going to be bad, everyone's panicking, these people were looking for solutions to the problem. And literally, that's what's going to help you during these times. Funny enough, 2020 ended, and for some reason people thought that was the end of COVID, but as we can tell, in the UK, we're in another lockdown, and people are still losing their jobs, and things are still not going as well as some people thought it will. They thought it was the year 2020, but really it's just a time and a season. So you have to be prepared to change your mindset and just grow your mindset. A good way to start this is by reading this book, and also listening to certain people. Some of the people I recommend is Stephen Bartlett. Is very good when it comes to changing your mind and things like that. And if you're a believer, you really, really want to go in and study the word, and pray against fear, pray for boldness, pray for wisdom in this time. Begin to declare and decree affirmations from the Bible. I remember when this whole coronavirus thing started, my scripture was, when others say there's a casting down, I'll say there's a lifting up. Like 2020 for me was a very good year. Like the year was, don't get me wrong, I had my downs. I really had my downs, I'm not gonna lie. But it was an amazing year. So that's number 3. Number 4, almost linked. Number 4 is almost linked to number 3. And it is just this. There is opportunity at all times, anywhere. Like, you have to get that into your mindset. Even when it seems like everything is just down, it's like, even when you feel like you're in the Sahara Desert, that like there's nothing, there's no life, there's nothing, there is still some opportunity, there's still something out there. I remember I was reading this blog, and I can't remember what the name of the person was, and they said before the pandemic we had infinite choices. After the pandemic, the infinite choices was cut in half, but it was like half of infinite choices equals infinite choices. So you still have more choices. There is still something to do. There's still opportunities to exploit. And like I just mentioned, like, this doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon. So you're best off adjusting your mindset. You're best off remembering that there's opportunities at all times, every single time, no matter what the situation looks like. And number 5, never let a good crisis go to waste. Simple. There's so many things. I feel like the last 3 points are so linked, or if they can't even be made as one point, but I felt the need to separate them so I can really explain them. Like I mentioned, in the midst of where everything is just dark, you know, there is no resources, there's nothing, there's always opportunity. And in the midst of all the chaos, all the just the nonsense that's been coming out of the media lately, and when I say nonsense, I'm not talking about they're not releasing facts, I'm just talking about how they're going about, you know, breaking this news and sort of just pushing fear into people's hearts, making them distracted about certain things in front of them. Like, for example, the lockdown and how everybody's annoyed and, you know, just they've had enough of the lockdown. Whereas, like, you ever see the lockdown as, oh, I don't get to see my family, I don't get to go out, and I'm just gonna drink myself to sleep. Or you can see as, okay, I don't have the distractions of family, I don't have the distractions of friends. Now I can, you know, focus on my mindset. I can focus on the things of me. I can focus on, if you're a believer, my relationship with God. I can focus on, you know, building that business. I could focus on, you know, studying that and, you know, getting that degree. Do you get what I mean? Like, just, you can do something in this crisis, because on the other side of crisis, where there's like a negative side, there's always a positive side. So negative side is, we're in lockdown, we don't get to see our friends and our family, we don't get to go out to restaurants, we don't get to do the fun stuff. But the plus side is that you then get to work on certain things. So never let a good crisis go to waste. Now, I know all 5 wasn't necessarily financially linked, but there's still good lessons. Okay, so that's it for the video. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I did want to lay some information on here. So let's be real, for the past year or however long I've had this page, Pink Lane, it has been pretty much dormant. I want to use 2021 as the year to really push forward with this agenda. Next couple of weeks, I am going to be revamping the page. I'm going to be putting more stuff on there. I've just recently joined Clubhouse, so if anyone's on there, I don't know how Clubhouse works, but if you're on there, please follow me, and, you know, let's get this conversation going about money, about finances, planning your life, and things like that. Just going forward, you know, how we're gonna go forward in this 2021. That's that. I'm going to be doing a couple of collaborations with just people in finance and just your everyday people, because I am not a guru, I'm not an expert, I'm working my way towards there. But what I want to use this platform to do is for everyone to learn. So I understand I am not the guru, I'm not the expert, I like to see myself as the intermediary, like the middle person who is just learning from these experts, and also just giving to the people who might not necessarily have access to this information, or who just need the information and they just don't know where to go to. So that's how I see myself. And yeah, I'm going to be doing lots of work on the Pink Lane page so we could get this rolling. And yes, so before I go, I just wanted to say Happy New Year to everyone. We've done the first week of 2021. We're alive and well. Let's do this thing together. And please, you know, if you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, Please leave a comment down below, share this with your friends, your family, and yeah, I'm just gonna keep going with it. So thank you.